Hello Ashanti viewers, I am DS, your psychologist, and welcome to another episode on Channel NITT. So in this episode, we are going to talk about dating an ENTJ. How does it feel like and what should you expect? So I've done some research, I've watched some videos from YouTube, and one particular YouTuber has caught my attention, and that is Frank James.
Oh no, my food has texture.
So in one of his videos, he imagined a date with an ENTJ to look like this.
I find the whole dating process to be quite inefficient, so I went ahead and just made a questionnaire for you.
While Frank James has used a very humorous slant to look at the ENTJ when it comes to dating, personally I feel that this is not representative of the ENTJ at all. So there are two reasons why this is so. Now first of all, the ENTJ has SI as his blind spot, so therefore ENTJs do not necessarily like to collect information. Even if we do collect information in the form of a questionnaire, how far can we trust this information? People lie, right?
I'm on tonight, my hips don't lie, and I'm starting to feel your book.
So regardless of how I think about it, the act of collecting information through a questionnaire does not appeal to TE, neither does it appeal to NI. It's true that ENTJ wants to have an assessment of you. So he would rather have a mental assessment of you by trying to get along with you and see how it goes. So definitely when the ENTJ is dating you, there needs to be a physical interaction with you. So as the interaction goes on, the ENTJ will make a mental intuitive assessment of whether you are suitable for this ENTJ. So we're going to talk about that later. So Frank James did this video probably to represent the stereotypical ENTJ. However, even this representation of the stereotypical even the stereotypical ENTJ does not collect information this way. A second reason why this representation of the ENTJ is not accurate is that it does not appeal to TE. TE is about strategization, it's about how what I do can meet the future outcomes. If I am interested in dating, definitely I want to know you better. Unless I'm out to humiliate you, I will not do what I am doing in that video. I can imagine it is such a turn off for the person who's at the receiving end of the questionnaire. Definitely this person will not date me. I am not going to meet my purpose, right? My objective will not be met. My purpose is to date. So definitely the ENTJ will not think of this. I think this is more suited for the ESTP. So when I think about dating, I think of a lot of different possibilities. Now in our digital era, it is very possible for an ENTJ to find someone on the internet through Tinder or otherwise to meet a person for the first time to get to know this person better. So we will use this scenario as a context of our discussion for this video. Of course, the ENTJ can also know you personally and then have asked you for a date. So what we are going to discuss in this episode can also apply to that kind of scenario. However, when I am imagining the answers for this episode, I am thinking about a true blind date. So what should you expect on a date with an ENTJ? First, the ENTJ will definitely be punctual. If the ENTJ is held up, he will text you to tell you. Secondly, the ENTJ is going to be well dressed. Of course, well dressed means suitably dressed. If you are going out for dinner, then he will dress very well. He's going to dress to impress. But if your first date is going to be a hiking trip, then he'll be dressed suitably. He will look very good. You can expect that at least for the first 30 minutes, the ENTJ is going to be very gentlemanly. At this point, I am going to make the assumption that the ENTJ is meeting you over a meal. So, over the meal, you are going to talk, right? If you are an introvert, there's no issue because the ENTJ, being an extrovert, will initiate a lot of topics. So if you are a good conversationalist, that's a good thing because the ENTJ can have a very engaging interaction with you. The ENTJ is not afraid or not reserved to share more about himself. And a lot of the information that he shares about himself is going to be genuine and true. Well, it really depends on which MBTI type the ENTJ is dating, but most of the time I would expect that the ENTJ will be doing at least 60 to 70% of the talking. Now this is not because the ENTJ is very domineering, this is because the ENTJ does not like silence. So being an extrovert, the ENTJ really needs a lot of stimulation. So when the two of you have nothing to talk about, there's silence, this becomes very arousing and uncomfortable for the ENTJ. So the ENTJ will quickly try to think of a topic so that the two of you can start talking about it. So during the communication and interaction with the ENTJ will be observing you and watching out for cues to see whether you are interested in this ENTJ. So being intuitive, the ENTJ can actually catch on to all these cues very quickly, like what you do. You could flick your hair, you could wink, you could blink, you could lean forward. All these are important cues for the ENTJ. So the ENTJ need not be a psychologist at all, but somehow the ENTJ will be able to know whether you are interested or you are just being polite or you are not interested at all. And from there, the ENTJ will make an assessment whether he likes you as well and then decide what to do from there. So the ENTJ is not afraid to initiate holding your hands, or if it comes to the time, to kiss you. On the first date, yes, of course lah. If during this date you are actually interested in the ENTJ as well, but he is not going further or taking this extra step, it is because you did not send very clear signals to the ENTJ. That's one thing. Another thing is the ENTJ is not as interested in you as you are in him. If the ENTJ is interested in you, then there will definitely be a follow-up. If the ENTJ has got some interest in you, despite you being not interested, the ENTJ is very likely to text you again, at most 3 times. Sometimes maybe beyond if you are really very attractive. If you do not give a positive signal back to the ENTJ, then the ENTJ will just discard you. So hopefully this episode can give you a very good idea what to expect during a date with an ENTJ and how to know whether an ENTJ is probably interested in you. However, personally as a mature ENTJ, I am not really interested in dating anymore. I am quite cool with being single. Sometimes dating can be a real hassle and an inefficient use of time. So I think that many ENTJs would rather be alone than to be with a wrong individual, because then there is a lot of drama and the ENTJ doesn't like that. There is a lot of resources wasted and that is totally inefficient. So being with myself is actually sometimes better. So personally, I am not very sure of other ENTJs, but as an ENTJ, I am not at my age open to blind dates anymore. So I would rather date somebody I know. So if there is somebody that I like, that I know of personally, I will just tell this person, do you want to go on a date? Simple as that. Of course, what I mentioned in this video about what to expect on a date with an ENTJ still holds. Okay, I hope that this video has helped you to understand better what to expect when you are dating an ENTJ. If you have not subscribed, do consider subscribing so that we can bring you more ENTJ and fun stuff. Okay, I'm gonna sign off now and I'll see you in my next episode. Goodbye!